Make sure you listen to what I say. I may be stupid or quite naive.
끝없이 쏟아지는 포토스팟. 휴대폰 한 대로 감당할 수 있겠니?
Arrow straight through my heart.
Coming up on Arirang News. Thousands of trainee doctors in South Korea have been on a mass walkout for around a month. And now medical professors are threatening to resign in support of them. Those senior doctors say, should the government issue work maintenance orders, the medical system in this country will no longer exist. Russia's state media reports that for the first time, Moscow has detained a South Korean man on alleged espionage, accused of passing state secrets to foreign intelligence services. With a month left until the general election in South Korea, the political circle is on alert against deepfake technology. We take a look at how they can fake perspectives and what's being done to prevent abuse. Good evening. It's 9 p.m. here in Seoul. Thank you for joining us on Arirang News. We start with the weeks-long walkout of trainee doctors in South Korea, which could include medical professors who have threatened to resign in support of them. The government has warned of the possibility of maintenance orders being issued under the law. In response, the doctors say the medical system in this country will no longer exist should the order be put in place. Our Park Gun-woo has the latest.
The ongoing standoff between the government and junior doctors may be about to escalate as medical professors are apparently planning to join the protest. This comes after all professors of medicine at Seoul National University announced on Monday their intention to resign en masse next Monday unless the government addresses the mass walkout by trainee doctors. In a briefing on Tuesday, Health Minister Cho Kyu-hong expressed deep concern over the decision, saying it would put patients at risk.
We express grave concerns over the collective decision by medical professors at Seoul National University because it threatens the lives and health of patients.
In another briefing the same day, Second Health Vice Minister Bang Min-soo hinted at the possibility of the government issuing treatment maintenance orders for the professors.
Since professors are considered medical personnel, they can be subject to various directives under the medical law. We can't confirm whether any specific orders will be enacted for now, but we are currently reviewing this matter.
Calling any such orders a mistake, the Korea Medical Association said that the medical system will not only be unable to return to normal, but won't exist altogether if the government isn't careful. It also criticized the government for saying this is all part of its medical reform plan, without proving that the policies are necessary, and even asked for an apology to be issued to the public. At a press conference on Tuesday, the SNU professors proposed postponing the medical school admissions increase by a year and forming a committee that includes members of the public and representatives of resident doctors for discussions on the issue. However, with the government standing firm on its plan to expand the medical student quota by 2,000 slots, the feasibility of meaningful dialogue is questionable. The Medical Professors Association of Korea will also meet this Thursday to discuss a range of issues, including the mass boycott of classes by medical students, as well as a potential unified response by the faculty. Separately, 5 leading hospitals in Seoul are also setting up meetings to examine the possibility of joint action, signaling a broader wave of protests within the healthcare community. Additionally, the nation's health minister met with trainee doctors for the first time on Monday. Details of the meeting, whom he met, or what was discussed were not disclosed, but the government has pledged to fully commit to dialogue going forward. As of Monday, the government had sent advance notices of license suspensions to over 5,500 trainee doctors who have not returned to their post despite a return-to-work order. Park Gun-woo, Arirang News.
Meanwhile, the government has unveiled a new plan to increase financial support for smaller specialty hospitals to address the problem of patients often flocking to major hospitals, a cause of greater disparity. It'll also revamp related systems so that more specialists can be hired than trainees. Our Choi Soo-young reports.
The government's plan is to change the current medical insurance system based on hospital size. During a cabinet meeting on Tuesday, Prime Minister Han Duck-soo announced the measures to increase financial support for smaller specialty hospitals. Currently, hospitals in South Korea are categorized into primary small clinics, secondary specialty hospitals, and tertiary comprehensive hospitals. Han stated that the government will calculate insurance fees paid based on the medical capabilities of each hospital, not based on their size, to normalize the current healthcare system, which relies heavily on junior doctors. He said the current system gives the largest 5 hospitals in Seoul more support regardless of their actual medical performance or achievements.
Some small, specialized hospitals currently treat patients with severe problems at the same level as tertiary comprehensive hospitals. The government aims to reduce excessive dependence on junior doctors and is moving forward to establish an effective medical system.
Moreover, the Ministry of Health and Welfare will strengthen its assessments in hiring medical personnel for new medical institutions, doubling the number of specialists compared to trainee doctors.
The inconvenience in the medical field due to the departure of trainee doctors reflects a distorted reality that overly relies on them. In top-tier hospitals, the proportion of trainee doctors is about 40% and is abnormal when compared to countries such as the United States and Japan, where it's around 10%.
The ministry will also support national university hospitals and regional training hospitals in hiring more specialists to reduce the workload of trainee doctors, allowing them to focus on their training. It added that for specialists, long-term contracts will be promoted over the current customary practice of 1-year short-term contracts to stabilize their employment environment. The government will hold a meeting on reforming the healthcare system, including discussions on increasing insurance fee payments and expanding the employment of specialists. Choi Soo-young, Arirang News.
Moving on to the upcoming general election. Election campaigning kicks into high gear in Korea ahead of April. Today, both ruling and main opposition parties launched their own campaign committees for this high-stakes election. Our National Assembly correspondent Shin Ha-young has details.
With just a month left until the general election, both the ruling and opposition parties have formed their election campaign committees. The ruling People Power Party's interim leader Han Dong-un will serve as its committee's chief chairman. According to a party announcement on Tuesday, the co-chairpersons of the committee are the PPP's floor leader Yoon Jae-ok, former lawmaker Na Kyung-won, former land minister Won Hee-ryong, and current lawmaker An Chol-soo. The PPP emphasized the importance of winning in metropolitan areas including Seoul, Gyeonggi-do Province, and Incheon, stating that the co-chairpersons are expected to lead these areas to victory. A control room to respond to election-related situations will commence operations on Wednesday. In the meantime, the main opposition Democratic Party of Korea on the same day also launched its campaign committee to oversee its election strategy and campaign. Operating under a so-called top 3 system, the committee is led by the DP leader Lee Jae-myung alongside former party leader Lee Hae-chan and former Prime Minister Kim Boo-kyung. The 4 key themes are defined as innovation, integration, public participation, and judgment of the Yoon administration. After opening a ceremony on Tuesday, the committee held its first meeting. While emphasizing the importance of integration to overcome turbulence within the party regarding candidate selection, the committee appealed to voters for support in the upcoming general election. Shin Ha-young, Arirang News.
And with less than a month to go until the general election, South Korea is putting its best efforts into making the process fair and just. Many, including the political circles and the police, are paying special attention to the danger of deepfake technology. Our Lee Si-hoo reports.
Deepfakes refer to synthetic AI-generated content that convincingly replaces a person's likeness. It also can create sounds and images of things that do not exist in real life. As many countries have elections coming this year, including the South Korean general election, there's much attention on deepfake technology because of its potential to be abused to instill fake perspectives of politicians. In South Korea, the National Assembly last December revised what's called the State Public Officials Act to ban the misuse of deepfakes in election campaigns. Beginning in January, all campaign efforts using deepfakes have been banned. In the private sector, tech giants Naver, Kakao, SK Communications, and others recently adopted a joint declaration to prevent deepfake abuse. The Korea Internet Corporations Association, of which these companies are members, said that the companies will work together to quickly detect and respond to deepfake technology. This follows a voluntary accord signed last month by global big tech companies pledging to fight deceptive AI-generated content interfering with elections around the world. 20 tech companies, including Amazon and Google, vowed during the Munich Security Conference to combat deepfake abuse to safeguard the integrity of electoral processes. South Korea's National Office of Investigation also recently developed new software to better detect deepfakes of South Korean features.
Most existing models were produced overseas and consist of Western-oriented data. For this reason, there was a problem of poor detection rates for images synthesized for Koreans. The software developed this time has greatly improved the detection rate for Koreans by learning various data related to Koreans.
An information security expert says voters must also stay vigilant.
In the age of AI, it is becoming increasingly difficult to distinguish between what is real and what is fake. We need to more vigilant about deepfakes and take a firm stance against the illegal users of deepfakes. Such a public debate may help clarify and minimize the legal sanctions.
Professor Kim highlighted that timely prevention is key, especially during general elections where the results can change just by some 100 votes in certain districts. Lee Si-hoo, Arirang News.
Shifting gears, an umbrella U.S. intelligence agency sees North Korea will continue to pursue its nuclear capabilities while aiming for the goal of achieving international acceptance as a nuclear power, potentially with the help of Russia. Our North Korean affairs correspondent Kim Jong-sil takes a closer look.
What is going on in North Korean leader Kim Jong-un's mind, and what are his plans for the future? The U.S. Office of the Director of National Intelligence said in its annual threat assessment report that Kim has no intention of giving up his nuclear program, which he perceives to be a guarantor of regime security and national pride. It said North Korean leader Kim Jong-un will continue to pursue nuclear and conventional military capabilities that threaten the United States and its allies, which will enable periodic aggressive actions as he tries to reshape the regional security environment in his favor. It also detailed the recent rapprochement between Pyongyang and Moscow, saying Kim probably hopes that he can use his burgeoning defense ties with Russia to pursue his goal of achieving international acceptance as a nuclear power. A senior official at South Korea's Ministry of Unification told reporters on Tuesday that North Korea's ambition of being a nuclear state is, quote, a vain dream. The official added Seoul will continue to push forward with its policies to dissuade Pyongyang from continuing with its nuclear program. Experts say the report surely incorporates the North's perception of the international community.
The final goal for North Korea is for the international community to give up on its double standards, that it cannot pursue policies that ban North Korea from being a nuclear power.
Regarding the assessment that the North may want to use its ties with Russia to achieve that goal, the experts said it won't happen anytime soon.
From Russia's perspective, although cooperation with the North is important, it will be difficult to blatantly accept the North's claim, as Russia considers it a privilege to maintain the NPT as a nuclear power state.
Both experts said Kim's goal may depend on further developments between Washington and Moscow. Kim Jong-sil, Arirang News.
Russia's state media says that a South Korean man was arrested earlier this year and is currently being detained on charges of spying. Moscow has been detaining several foreign nationals since its invasion of Ukraine, but it's the first such case to be reported involving a South Korean national. Our foreign affairs correspondent Bae Eun-ji has more.
Russia has detained a South Korean man on suspicions of espionage. The state-run media outlet TASS News Agency reported late on Monday night that the man, identified as Bae Kwon-sun, was arrested in Vladivostok earlier this year for handing over classified information to foreign intelligence agencies. Bae reportedly moved from China to Vladivostok in January, where he was arrested by the Russian Federal Security Service a few days after his arrival. In late February, he was transferred to Moscow and is being held in custody at Lefortovo prison. Seoul's foreign ministry said Tuesday that it has been providing consular assistance since it became aware of the arrest. But it refused to comment further on any details, including why he was arrested and when the South Korean government was notified of the matter.
Our government has been communicating with Russia so that our citizen can safely return home to his family as soon as possible.
Sources in Vladivostok have reportedly told South Korean local media outlets that Bae was a religious worker and that he had been indirectly supporting North Korean laborers working in Russia, helping them escape. This is the first reported case involving a South Korean national, but it's just the latest in a series of arrests of foreigners made by the Russian authorities since the start of the war in Ukraine. American Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich was detained last March on espionage charges. And another journalist, Alsu Kurmasheva, who holds U.S. and Russian citizenship, was also arrested for spreading, quote, false information about the Russian military. This latest detention has sparked concerns that it could worsen already strained relations between South Korea and Russia. Bae Eun-ji, Arirang News.
South Korea's leading chip makers, Samsung Electronics and SK Hynix, have stopped selling their old chip-making equipment. According to the Financial Times on Monday, it's come to light that Samsung and SK have been storing used equipment in warehouses since 2022 instead of selling it. This comes after the U.S. imposed export controls on China and urged its allies to heighten restrictions as well. China is the largest buyer of this type of equipment that's used to produce chips for cars or repurposed into machines that make less advanced chips. The companies are reportedly also wary of going against Western sanctions on Moscow, as some Chinese buyers have been selling to Russia. In financial markets, foreign investors were net buyers of South Korean stocks for the fourth straight month in February, mainly due to expectations of returns from the corporate value-up program unveiled last month. According to the Financial Supervisory Service on Tuesday, overseas investors bought a total net value of over 7 trillion won, roughly $5.6 billion of shares in Korean listed firms last month. This was the largest amount in about 11 years. In addition, the financial regulator said foreign investors held nearly $582 billion in stocks, amounting to over 28% of the market capitalization as of the end of February. In other news, cultural exchanges can often be a good way to build friendships between people from different countries. It's in line with this that a group of Harvard students have come to South Korea to experience a unique culture while sharing their passion for music with Koreans. Our Lee Eun-hee has the story.
100 Harvard students have come to South Korea. During their 10-day trip, the students stopped off at Jinkwansa Temple, a Buddhist temple located in Seoul. Monks describe Jinkwansa Temple as a place where prayer and practice cultivate happiness and wisdom, a true sanctuary for the mind. Jinkwansa is over 1,000 years old and is located to the west of Bukhansan Mountain. Students got to learn about the temple's history and watch an annual ritual which is also a designated national cultural heritage called the Suryukje, a ceremony for water and land. While learning about Korean temple cultural practices such as tea drinking, the students took a brief pause to meditate.
I'm so happy to be here at the temple. It was very relaxing in the morning. We have a very busy schedule, so it's so nice to even get to meditate for a few minutes. I'm really happy to be around nature as well. We've been in Seoul for a few days. It's very concrete pavement, and I love being around the trees and the grass now.
One of the highlights of a temple stay is the opportunity to sample temple food, which is known as being healthy and vegetarian, as well as environmentally friendly and sustainable. From preparation to consumption, every step in the temple is a daily practice.
I think the experience was so intimate. Last time I came, I went to the markets and the street life, and it was really overwhelming, but this is overwhelming in a really different way.
The students, who are also members of the Harvard Radcliffe Orchestra, will be performing concerts across the country during their stay.
When the mind is harmonious and at peace, music resonates even more beautifully. That's why it's important for musicians to find ways to cleanse and regulate their inner selves.
With their minds and bodies revitalized, up next for the Harvard Radcliffe Orchestra is their first concert at Lotte Concert Hall in Seoul on Wednesday evening. 이은희, Arirang News.
South Korea, the U.S., and India are strengthening cooperation in critical and emerging technologies. As on Tuesday, the three countries held the first trilateral dialogue on the topic. The third Deputy Director of National Security, Wang Yun-jong, hosted his U.S. counterpart, Tarun Chhabra, and India's Lekanta Kar in Seoul to discuss cooperation on pharmaceuticals, semiconductor supply chain, AI, and space, among other things. The top office says while tech cooperation was largely between Seoul, Washington, and Tokyo, New Delhi's inclusion is significant as India is a leader in space technology and has the workforce to support the pharmaceutical supply chain. Such dialogue was agreed to be launched following the South Korea-U.S. Next Generation Critical and Emerging Technologies Dialogue held in Seoul late last year.
Unlike today's cloudy conditions with spring rain, tomorrow a warm front awaits. This will keep weather conditions on the milder side for the next few days. Daytime temperatures will rise to at least 12 degrees Celsius all over the country, making it feel like spring. However, wide temperature gaps will follow. With this temperature swing, it's easy to catch a cold. Please take care. From tonight, after the rain stops, smoke from overseas is expected to gradually flow into western regions of the country. Mild spring weather will continue from tomorrow until late in the week, but air quality is likely to continue to worsen. Expect air quality to be at bad levels of ultrafine dust in the Seoul metropolitan area. You'll need to wear a protective mask. Tomorrow morning will not be as warm as today. Chuncheon at -3, Daejeon 0 degrees. However, daily highs will jump to 14 in Daejeon, Daegu, Gyeongju, and Busan 15 degrees Celsius. The daytime temperature in Seoul is expected to rise to as high as 16 degrees this coming weekend. That's all for Korea. Here are the weather conditions around the world.
Well, this brings an end to this newscast tonight. Thank you for watching. We'll be back at 10 p.m. with the AI headline news. Good night.
Lotte takes a new leap beyond its boundaries. Our change will lead to better lives for all.